Hi there, welcome to Tiny Tuesday. I'm Christy here at My Artful Adventures, and today we're going to be talking about the difference between Distress ink and Distress Oxide. So I've got two different things there because this one that I have that is actually the same color, this is peeled paint, that's the color of that one. For some reason it has a different label, so I don't know what's up with that, but that doesn't even matter. Anyway, someone recently was asking me about what the difference was between Distress Oxide and the ink. And she said, I have the same color, I can't tell what is different about them, they look the same to me. Well, yes, when you have the same color and you put them down on your paper, they are going to look the same because it's the same manufacturer making the same type of product, or somewhat it's an ink product, and so their coloring system is going to be the same. They also have Distress ink sprays, and so whatever that they're making that has the same name, they want it to be a similar color so that as people use those colors, they can be assured that those are going to be pretty much the same across the board. But let's talk about what the difference is. Well, Distress ink is a dye-based ink, and it soaks into the paper, it dries faster, and so it's great for stamping and blending, and it doesn't react much after it's dry. However, the Distress Oxide is a dye plus a pigment blended together, and so the pigment sits more on top of the paper, and that's why it feels creamier, it blends softer. But you know what, let me show you what happens. I'm gonna use a different color for these because I want to use this. So let's take the magic happens when you spray it with water. So here is this is called walnut stain. I'm just going to put these out here. And it actually, when you spray it with water and you put it on watercolor paper, that becomes the magic, okay? And so I'm going to put several colors down here so that you can see what they look like. And I tell you, you're just not going to believe it until you see it, okay? Now I've got some samples already ready here that I can flip over and show you, but I want to get this started. If we don't get it started, it's going to take a while. So, watercolor paper acts different, right? I mean, if you're going to use watercolors and you need them to be wet so that they can, oh my goodness. Well, so much for that little thing. What? Oh my word. Okay, let's pause here so I can find a sprayer. I am not even going to edit that out, you guys. That's just how things go around here. I have the nicest little spray bottle that I had. It was from Tim Holtz or Ranger, and it was just the perfect size to have here in the craft room. And then we get a puppy, and guess what? Now I don't have a nice sprayer. I have the trigger and the little thing, but I have no idea where the bottle is. So now we have an industrial sized water bottle here, and now we're going to be able to spritz this. Let me spray it out a little first. And then you're going to see what starts to happen with these colors. The color is going to move. It's going to kind of what you call bloom, and you're going to start to see the separation of color. So here we go. Here's our pine needle color. Look at this. This is what it looks like just flat on the card, and then look what happens. And these chalky things are kind of, the part that is oxidized, and that's kind of, it leaves this chalky look on part of it. This is called Dusty Concord, and look at this. Look at how it blooms, and see how that different, see how part of it is like that, but it spreads all out. Isn't that cool? So if you're doing mixed media, whoops, wrong thing. When you're doing mixed media, look how fun that can be to, put on and then spray out. Here's the brush corduroy. It's kind of got this little greenish tint to it, And look at that. It separates out, and you can see kind of that green color, but that gold and the brown separate. I just think it is the most fun. And you're not going to be able to, see this just flat on the paper, or if you don't spray any water or anything on it. And this was the peeled paint. This is the one that I started with. And it does. I mean, it comes out there and spreads apart too. But anyway, isn't that fun? So if you didn't have any idea, and it kind of takes, a minute for it to spread around and kind of activate. And obviously, the more that you put some water to it, the more it's going to spread around. But you're just not going to see this unless you've actually put some water down and then let it do this. And then once it begins to kind of dry or whatever, you could even take some water and sprinkle it like this and then get another look. And I'm pretty sure that is kind of what has happened on this one here, that as it started to dry, I probably sprinkled it, gave it another sprinkling, and that was, you know, what that did. But just so much fun. So if you ever wondered, no, it's not just, there's a reason. It's two different kinds of products. And so I just think that that is so fun, and I just wanted you to be able to know exactly what's going on. And look at how much this one is separating up here. The yellows are coming out. And then this one, this is that tea dye color. Who would think that tea dye was, you know, gonna turn into something like that with those browns? And yeah, just a lot of fun. And this one, I was thinking this one looked a little bit, let's check that one back out on my swatch card. So I took these, and this is what I did on all of them, was so I would know what they look like. Because, you know, you don't know just looking at the thing. Oh, that was that Dusty Concord. And, you know, and it does. It's kind of darker here. It doesn't look like I got enough down here, you know, to have it with this richer color right in here. But, you know, that spreads out there. But anyway, just so you know, you can't use your products successfully if you don't have any idea what they do, right? And so when you're in a line of colors from a company and they have different products in those same colors, you know, that's what makes it fun, because then you can combine those. You can use different different ones within the line and know that they're going to blend and mix. And when you you know, in the ink pads, you've got re-inkers. You've got re-inkers for it, and they've got sprays and who knows what else. I can't even keep up with all the kinds of products that everybody, you know, adds to their things. But anyway, I hope that you have enjoyed this, and you know, maybe you just got a thing of Distress Oxide because you saw some crafter or artist using it and you really admire the work that they do, and you thought, okay, well, that's what they use, I better get it. Well, for me, the reason I use Distress Oxide is because I like the way that it's creamy and blendable. I always had a lot of trouble trying to, you know, do things like add edges and ink edges of things with regular type ink. I just couldn't get it to go. But the other part of that is, you know, in recent years they have come out with the brushes. They've also come out, another thing that really helped me is using the little domed foam applicators. For some reason, those little dome shapes for me made a world of difference. You know, and it's not about whether you're doing something right or wrong. It's just about what works for you. So that's it for this Tiny Tuesday. Let me know if you have tried both of those, and let me know if you have used some of the Distress Oxides and you like the way that they bloom out like this. Tell me, what is your favorite color? Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.